Hello, 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 everyone. Malorie here, and welcome back to Malorie's Weird World Adventures, the podcast. I'm your host, Malorie.
And I'm your host, Michael.
And we're here to show you just how weird this world of ours really is. So this is really refreshing, Michael. We're actually back in our sound booth at home. I'm sure it's refreshing for all of you at home because it doesn't sound like we're in some weird, space battle or having something crazy happen around us while we record.
Yeah, the ones we did in the car seemed to we did them all at once.
Mm-hmm.
Seemed to kind of get worse as the car ride went on.
Yep. I think it was...
The audio quality, that is.
Yes.
Maybe the content, too. I don't know. I'll let you be the judge of that.
I think it was the fog and rain and just the chaos that we brought along with us.
The fog made the sound quality?
You never know. I really do think it was the faster we were going on the highway, the worse the Bluetooth connection was.
So your bad driving was to...
And then the party that happened around us when we were in Salem at the Hawthorne last week was a little aggressive. It started all right, and then all of a sudden, there's a whole bar party happening around us.
Yeah, that was unfortunate.
It was. But now we're back in our nice little tube here, and we are ready to talk about Salem. So we did talk about Salem, Massachusetts, obviously, just this, 2 weeks ago with Mike from Spellbound Tours. But we just covered more of the witch trials and, the kind of fun experiences we had with Mike, but we didn't get to dive into the rest of our Salem trip.
Complete derailment with vampires.
Oh,
that was probably half of that podcast, to be honest. More vampires than witches.
Whenever there is an opportunity to talk about vampires, I have to be there for that, especially when we're talking about Christopher Lee's Dracula. I'm just saying it. And then we the next day did interviews around Salem, and we talked to another person that's a horror aficionado, and he threw a curveball into that debate where I'm saying Christopher Lee and Mike is saying that the best Dracula is Bela Lugosi, and this guy James said no, Frank Langella. And I respect that answer. Mm-hmm. I do.
I don't have a strong feeling about this. None of this
Everyone else does, Michael.
So passionate. And I was just I don't know. They're fine. They're all fine.
I will say, every time I had a strong opinion about something horror related, I feel like poor Mike was like, what? He seemed very put back by my opinions.
Yeah, what was the other thing that he...
Oh, it was, yes. He hated, or he liked something I hated, or hated something I liked.
Yeah.
Yes.
Whatever.
Oh.
Well, yeah, I mean...
And he liked the fan fiction book that developed Love Never Dies.
I see, I haven't...
It's the sequel to Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah.
Sequel.
Yeah.
But it's a fan fiction because Gaston Leroux didn't write it, so...
See, this is another thing that I just have no knowledge of, or... yeah.
Yes. Anyway, I almost remembered and then I forgot. So before we continue our derailment, before we even begin, I wanted to talk about our adventures, filming Weird World Adventures in Salem. So if you guys don't know by now, I don't know where you've been because I spent the entire last week talking about filming the second season of Weird World Adventures. And we just got back from Salem, Massachusetts, because we're going to have an episode in Salem. And of course, when we were filming in Los Angeles at the end of last year, my good friend Melanie told us about this spot in Connecticut, just randomly, oh, you guys know Connecticut? Well, you know the Little People Village, right? And we were both just clueless about it.
I'd never heard of it. My whole family's from Connecticut.
Yeah.
I don't think any of them had heard of it either.
It was pretty close to where your family was, kind of, too. And apparently there's this little abandoned fairy town in Middlebury, Connecticut, that's just off of a path. It's a path that used to obviously be kind of a park, and now it's more just not well maintained, but it's still just a walking trail in a park. And it has these strange little tiny fairy houses kind of hidden around it, and a throne, what looks like a throne. sitting kind of in the middle of it. And the story is that it was either a woman who was saying she was being harassed by fairies or a man that was saying he was being harassed by elves. Like little elves, like the little mythical kind, not the Legolas kind.
Yeah.
And it just kind of drove them insane, so they created a village so that, I think in the woman's story, she created a village so she could rule over them, gotta dominate those fairies. And in the version with the man, it was to just get them to leave, but they didn't, and then I think he took his own life in a dark turn of events.
Wow, I mean,
yep,
that's unfortunate.
But I found it.
I kind of like the idea though of like a town of Middle Earth style Legolas elves just chilling in Connecticut. I know that's not the type they're supposed to be. They're supposed to be more like the Yule lads, right? Like the mischievous, the mischievous type. Although the guy kills himself, so not great.
Well, the origin of the Yule lads was much darker too, and they became more PC over time as we became more like lighthearted and fun as a culture. Like, things aren't so survival based anymore like they were in old Iceland, so now it's kind of funsies where it didn't used to be.
I like the original, the OG Yule lads.
Yeah.
I like my Yule lads just like I like my Christian God. Old Testament. Fire and blood. Just
fire and blood and stealing your sausages and peeping in your windows.
One of them is a peeping Tom, right?
And one of them just sniffs your doorways, which is just bizarre.
Yeah. It like kind of seems dirty, but I'm not sure why they're doorways. Just the way you said that just sounds dirty.
Yeah, but these are not fun, happy elves. These were the kind that made someone take their own life. So it was the story. It's not like happy and fun either way. And we found it. Yeah.
So those stories are just like what you can find about it, right?
It's like folklore. Well,
because
it's hard to even find those stories.
Okay.
They're very hard to find. It's like more local people talking about local folklore in their town than it is. And Melanie's from New Hampshire, so she has been in the Connecticut area a lot. So it was more local than anything else. And, the story was passed on from her, passed on to somebody else. But it's hard to find information on. But it does exist. But it did not look like what you would think it would look like.
Yeah, I like the idea that someone went crazy and built himself a throne to rule over some elves or fairies. I mean, that's great, but it also could have just been an old abandoned rundown building that like has gone back to nature and crumbled over time.
There were definitely abandoned buildings around it, which is noted when people talk about it. There's an abandoned house that's just there. It looks like it's just more of the abandoned house. It looks like the throne looks like a doorway.
There's certainly things that, I mean, you can make the throne look like a throne. Like when you go into it and are expecting a throne, it looks like a throne. But it also looks like a doorway.
It looks like a doorway, specifically where the seat part is actually just a step up into the door.
Yeah.
But it's crumbled down, so it looks like a throne. But I think it was actually a doorway at one time. Yeah. Not to be a buzzkill. And
oh, no. I'll be the buzzkill. That's what I'm here for. I was brought on a season 2's buzzkill. Yeah.
The skeptic. Mulder and Scully, but that would make you the Scully.
I'm Scully.
Because Scully's the skeptic.
Right.
Right. And Mulder's the Mal.
Right.
She's the believer. Well, he's the believer.
The lunatic.
Wow. But it was like, this could be the entrance to the house, and this could be a cute little spirit house or animal house outside. It was giving me the spirit house pagoda vibes for some of them.
Yeah. I wish we had some actual information on it. I mean, like I said, I would love for like it to be actually a little village that some lunatic built to rule over delusional fairies or elves, that's great. The guy killing himself, maybe not as great. It just seems more likely that it's just more abandoned structures.
Yeah.
Given that there's also clearly abandoned structures around it.
Right. Yes.
They are weird. It's painted weird. They do look weird. They're not they're not just like concrete slabs.
That's
like
the difference.
Weirdly painted, colorful, and they look creepy because it's gone back to nature largely. So it's very old looking.
Yes.
But it has like pinks and it has shades of color that are not what you would just associate with like a broken down house.
I agree. And the house next to it looks like a traditional old stone house.
Nothing else around there looks
right. So that chunk of it is painted. People also...
So either way, someone was a lunatic, right?
Exactly.
Dude had a pink, purple, crazy painted house.
Exactly. It was like...
And ruled over the elves with an iron fist and then killed himself.
Oh, no. But we go on the hunt for this for season 2 of Weird World, so that will be in there in the Salem episode, our fun little journey. Your comment about lunacy and crazy houses just gave me a sidebar. I just have to say this. On my aunt's neighborhood, my Aunt Charlotte, where when I was a child, when we would visit her, the house in the corner of her neighborhood was painted bright pink like Barbie's house.
Oh. And
we would drive by and go, oh, it's Barbie's house. Like, we always called it Barbie's house because somebody painted their house hot pink. And, and then I guess it was sold and it's not hot pink anymore, so now it's a boring house. But I still call it Barbie's house, even though it's not pink anymore. But somebody actually painted their house pink like Barbie.
I see.
In Virginia. Okay. But anyway.
And for more of those fascinating stories, stay tuned for season 2 of Weird World.
Yay! So we made it to Salem, Massachusetts, and I think the first thing that we should talk about is the fact that we stayed in the Warlock house. It was cool.
It was cool.
It was very cool. There's a property that you can rent, I guess.
There's a lot of Airbnb type rentals there.
And I think it is on Airbnb. I just found it through something else. Oh, okay. And it's very cool. It's a Warlock house, as in you walk in, it has some fun nods to Hocus Pocus, to Bewitched, and then the first room on the left is just this Edgar Allan Poe room. It's very gothic and dark, and there's skeletons on the beds and the light shades, and there's Raven, and I think Poe is in there, yes.
God, was he in there or is he in the hall?
I think he had a bust.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, there was a bust of him in there. And
like the dark draped, curtains and the dark rooms. It was very Victorian goth and very cool. And then there was an herbal room.
I liked the herbal room.
I liked the herbal room. That's where we slept because this is the room.
Alchemy, mortar and pestle.
It was very like potions and...
I've always liked the alchemy stuff.
Yeah.
My, talking about side tangents here, my trade skill, in the many years I played World of Warcraft, was alchemy.
Oh, was it?
Oh, yes.
Very not nerdy at all. No. Somehow that just makes World of Warcraft really cool.
It's really cool.
Really cool. I hear that's how you pick up girls.
Wow. Yeah. The ladies love it when you talk dirty to them with World of Warcraft.
And then the kitchen to this place, it was very neat. It had like the hanging chandelier that was wooden with the, fake flickering candles. The entire facility had flickering candles.
The facility.
And you had settings where you could play with the entire lights, and including like the candles just had their own little thing for it.
They were also all colored lights.
Yes.
There were like dark purples and oranges.
Well, I like that it had different settings because you had the colored lights, like you said, but then you could also just turn on normal lights, and then you could do candles. So that was fun.
Yeah, you could make them flicker like candles.
Yes. And then the living room had a giant Ouija board coffee table, which was very cool. A spinning wheel, like the witch wheel.
Like you'd like prick your finger on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Snow White style.
Yeah. Sleeping Beauty.
Damn it.
You got your princesses mixed up.
Damn it.
Sleeping Beauty is way cooler than Snow White.
Again, I don't think I have a strong opinion on this either.
You're missing out. And then
Snow White, the guy's a little rapey, right?
Oh, yes. Well, they both are. They're both sleeping and get kissed by a prince. Maybe that's why you got them confused. They're both a little rapey.
Okay.
Yeah.
I took rape away from both stories.
Oh,
Is that the moral?
Maybe.
Okay.
I mean, if you just see a pretty girl sleeping in the forest, you're just going to kiss her, right?
She's probably waiting for this kiss.
Yeah.
This non-consensual makeout session.
Definitely.
I'm saving her life.
Right. Exactly.
Hashtag me too.
But yeah, it had the spinning witch wheel and a couple of very cool big old witch-looking, sofas and chairs. And then there was a Halloween room. It's like traditional trick-or-treat Halloween with twin beds for the kids.
Yeah, it'd be a good kid room.
It was. Mm-hmm. It was very neat. And the thing that was so special about it was that they had their Alexa set up to do spells.
Yes, that was definitely the coolest part. Mm-hmm. Also, the kitchen was nicely set up.
It was. It
had like the the main light fixture in the kitchen was like a barrel of candles. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it was very cool.
But yes, the setup with the Alexa is the key.
Yes.
The key thing that made it really cool.
You would say, "Candles, Alexa, candles, candles everywhere," and all the candles would come on. You could turn the lights off. You could say, "Alexa, spirits awaken," and then it would start a seance.
It would dim all the lights, make it like a purpley dark.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. She could give you a tarot reading if you asked for it. It was very cool. I really think that was special, and you should definitely check that out if you're going to Salem for the fun. Go to Salem to have fun. Mm-hmm. I feel like a lot of people get very stuffy and serious about Salem, but the community is actually quite small, and everybody knows each other, and they have fun, and they want you to have fun.
Yeah.
Definitely. And like part of embracing it is it might seem gimmicky and silly to go to the Warlock house to cast spells with Alexa, but it's a lot of fun. Enjoy life.
It was a lot of fun. It was very cool how they had it set up. Mm-hmm. It was also very convenient. It's right in the town. I mean,
you can walk to
the city center within 5 minutes. It was also pretty spacious. Mm-hmm. You'd easily fit a family with kids.
Yes.
Maybe even 2 families in there, depending. I mean,
yes.
Be close, I guess. But you'd easily fit like a large family.
Yeah, there's beds for 6 people if there's like 2 couples and then there's 2 twin beds for kids. Mm-hmm. It could fit a lot of people. Definitely. And it was within the walking distance
I think there was
to
actually
everything.
2 rentals on the property. So I guess multiple families could potentially all stay in the same place if you wanted to.
Because we were downstairs and then there was one upstairs. Mm-hmm. And it was very cool. The first day we took it a little bit easy and we just had our tour around Salem with Mike, which you heard all about last time from Spellbound Tours. But we did, I don't know if I'm repeating myself, I apologize.
Well, we took the day easy.
That was what I was...
Because the tour was... He spent a lot of time with us. It was really great.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, when did we start? Like 4?
4?
And it went all... I mean, we got back at...
10 or 11. I know, we had a party.
And it snowed while we were in the restaurant.
So I guess I'll start with, we shot our opener for Weird World. I'm just going to give the whole BTS at the Bewitched statue, which, if you guys know, Elizabeth Montgomery is my hero. I love her so much. She discovered her inner weirdo on TV, and I'm just all about it. You can be pretty and weird at the same time.
Nonsense.
And I just love her. And so they have the statue of her there in Salem. So we had to do our opener there, and we kind of got harassed.
Not kind
of. Okay, we did get harassed while we were doing the opener, and we nailed it.
Full lunatic.
Yes. Apparently, I didn't even see it happening until it was happening, but this guy pulled over in a car, got out of the car, just beelined it for us, like full beeline.
Yeah, we had the camera on a tripod because we were both trying to be in the opener.
Yes.
And doing a few takes of just, whatever, a nonsense 1-minute opener. And this dude just, also didn't see it till he was like fully in the, the shot.
And he says, "You want to catch someone crazy on camera?" And then my just generic response was, "Not particularly." Which I thought was pretty good in the moment with everything going on.
He did pause to think about that. Mm-hmm. And then said, "Nah, fuck that. I'm going to do the crazy anyways."
And then just full crazy rant for a solid 2 minutes or something. And then
diagnosably unwell type rant.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then ends rant with, "Thank you for your service." And then says,
which I have no, pardon my French, fucking idea what that was supposed to mean.
I know. Her service?
We're standing in front of an Elizabeth Montgomery statue filming ourselves.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
And then goes, "By the way, she's really hot."
Yeah,
so
had to
end it with that.
Yeah.
And then
I was like, yeah, she's all right.
Wow. And then just gets back in his car and leaves. And
who gave this guy a driver's? I mean, this was diagnosably unwell.
Yeah. And at the same time, there just happened to be a Pokemon Go group. You can't make this stuff up.
We didn't know that was what it was.
But
there were like 20 people.
Yes, just waiting nearby at the statue. I guess the statue was their meeting
young
point.
Adult, our age-ish.
And they immediately just go, "Are you okay?" They all come over like, "We were waiting to see what was going to happen. Are you okay? Oh my gosh, we had our phones ready just in case." And everyone had our backs, which was great.
Yeah. Well, you were telling him you weren't interested in the crazy. And then he just spewed crazy for a good 30 seconds. Yeah, I mean, I was just ready to tackle it. I mean, like, who knows? Like, it was that kind of, like, mental illness where, like, this guy could just, like, try to hit somebody. You know, it was, like, very unclear what was going to happen.
Right.
And I'm just sitting there, like, coiled, ready to hit him, basically. And I could see that there was, like, a group of people watching this happen. So I was like, all right, well, I can definitely probably... Also, he was, like, an old kind of chunky, out of shape guy with a MAGA hat. I mean, it's exactly the kind of imbecile you'd expect to do this, right? So I was like, I'm pretty sure I can take him. But there's also 20 people behind him, and I'm pretty sure they're seeing what's happening. So we're probably all right. Probably all right. He doesn't pull a weapon, I guess. But
yeah, it all worked out. He bled his crazy and walked away. He also, I don't know if you caught this, when he came over, he made some comment about how you had a coat on and I didn't. Like, he was offended that, like, I wasn't wearing a jacket. But I, like, specifically wasn't wearing a jacket because I was wearing one of Elizabeth Montgomery's old dresses, and I wanted to show it off.
It was very cold.
It was.
Yeah. And, yes, I was in a full overcoat, and you were in a dress, a short dress, short sleeveless dress. But, yeah, you acted very offended, like, he's over there in, like, 3 jackets, and you got nothing, you're not wearing any of them.
Yeah.
As if, I take your jacket? I mean, it was just like, well, we were trying to shoot, like, we're clearly filming something.
Right.
She's in this on purpose.
Right. I dressed myself,
By the way, sir, if you hadn't fucking interrupted us, we would be done by now, and she would be back in her jacket.
Yes. Yes.
But thank you for your service.
Thank you for your service. That happened. And then we got some food, and then we met up with Mike.
Some food.
And then we met up with Mike, and then had a crazy long...
The Direwolf Tavern?
Yeah, that was good.
That's where we ate right after that, right?
Well, I saw Direwolf, and I was like, well, we have to eat here. It was good. It was very good. They had
You're
sushi.
no Stark.
That's true. I don't like the cold. I'm a dragon.
No, you're not.
Targaryen Tyrell. Yeah. Wow.
Not at all.
Wow. Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway. When we went flash forward to dinner, where we were recording our podcast with Mike Vitka for, Spellbound Tours for Weird World Adventures. And we came in and it had gotten quite cold and we knew that it was supposed to snow, but it hadn't yet. And I think by the time we came in, it was kind of drizzly, rainy a little bit.
It was drizzly. It was nasty rainy.
Yeah. And then we did our podcast and had dinner. I don't think we were in there for horribly long. It might have been a couple of hours, but it was a productive couple of hours. And we walk out, and everything's just covered in snow. And it's pouring snow, like just full on, like, snowstorm.
Yeah.
I didn't expect it. Like, oh, well, there's the snow.
He was great. I mean, we just kept doing the tour.
We did. Yeah. He continued the tour. We ended it outside of the Witch Museum at nighttime, which is all red and dramatic and beautiful. And he even did my little outro with me there. Mm-hmm. That was great. So we had a really...
And no insane person stopped this time.
It's true.
To interrupt the outro.
We were the insane people because we were the only people out in Salem at all.
Even the crazies weren't that crazy.
Mm-mm. It was.
There was a couple
crazy.
inches on the ground by the time we
yeah.
walked back.
We walked back in full, like, blizzard levels of snow. Not, like, the length, but just the amount of snow that was coming down was intense. It was intense levels of snow. And there was a couple inches on the ground. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we made it back, and then we're like, okay, we're not going back outside. And the difference in temperature between the first day where I felt comfortable not wearing my... I mean, it was cold not wearing my jacket, but I could do it for 5 minutes while we filmed something. I couldn't have done it for 5 minutes the second day. It was freakishly cold.
It was in the teens the second day.
Yeah, it was terrible.
And kind of windy.
Mm-hmm. It was... We tried to walk around, and it was hard to walk around. It was so cold. We got to see our fun little quick sites, like, the Witch Museum and the Witch House and the Witch Dungeon and the house from Hocus Pocus.
Yeah.
That was cool. We saw the Yabo's house.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Nice pair of Yabos. It's my favorite part of that movie.
My brother says you have nice Yabos. Right, he likes your Yabos or whatever.
I think the crazy dude like your Yabos.
Oh, no. Gross. But we got to have a little adventure around Salem before doing our interviews. And we met with James at Count Orlok's Nightmare Gallery, which... It's like one of there were a few places. Every single person in Salem was like, "You're doing this, right?" And one of them was Count Orlok's. Another one was the Witchboard Museum, and we did both. And James was lovely. He was just a horror fanatic, and so he has this gallery space of just those life-size figures from horror specifically, going back from Bela Lugosi. And you kind of go through a journey into the more modern stuff. And they're very, like, artistically displayed and interesting. And it's very cool.
Full life-size replicas of some of these, yeah.
It was very cool. They had my boy Christopher Lee.
They did? Mm-hmm. They had, like, the giant Predator versus Alien, like, locked in combat thing right in the middle. I mean, that thing was... just impressively built.
That's cool.
Have you seen either of those movies?
No. Well, I've seen Alien.
Okay.
I've seen the original Alien.
Okay. All right.
Because of the cat, right? I was rooting for the cat the whole time.
Yeah, there is a cat. Yeah, you're right.
I think he lives, too, because I would have been very devastated.
I think the cat and she live. I think everyone else dies.
Yep. I was rooting for the cat the whole time.
The Gremlins. You haven't seen Gremlins, have you?
I haven't seen Gremlins.
Yeah. Another great crazy? Christmas movie.
I would watch them. You know what?
Has a great Christmas scene.
Oh, God. A great Christmas scene. Yeah.
I showed you.
Yeah. Bizarre.
Just totally out of place for the movie. Like, totally out of place with the feel of the movie. It's kind of hokey on purpose.
Right.
Jokey. I mean, they're little gremlins. They're, like, clearly dangerous, and I think people die, but it's still, like, kind of funny.
Yeah.
It's not, like, full horror movie, like, you're supposed to be terrified. But the like, dramatic scene where the girl's, like, reliving her, like, horrible Christmas where her father dies is so out of place.
And bizarre, and I have so many questions.
Nothing to do with the play. It just makes no sense that it's in there. Anyways, it's great. Look it up if you haven't seen it. Yeah.
Gremlins reminds me of, now this is me not having seen it, but what I think of, what I just associate it with in my head is Small Soldiers, and I love that
movie. What?
I love those. They're little and destructive.
I know the movie.
I loved that movie.
What?
I don't know why, but I did. I watched it a lot. Because they were little and destructive. Maybe that's why.
Wow.
It's a good one. I should watch that one again.
Oh, yeah.
Forever.
I haven't seen that since I was, I don't know, 8? When did that come out?
A long time ago. Oh, gosh. But if you go to Count Orlok's Nightmare Gallery, you have to do the expanded tour and see his vault downstairs, because that was the coolest part for me. Just the unbelievable.
It's like an extra VIP tour, right?
Yes.
That you can do. It takes you down into his actual workshop and has some very additionally cool areas down there.
Yes. His vault has so many cool artifacts and collectibles and real
some
artifacts.
Some real. I mean, some of the books he had there made me jealous. I'm a book, I'm a book guy, as you know. I've literally hundreds of books that are unread in my house, but he had some stuff hundreds of years old, real copies. Yeah.
It was very cool to get to see that, and he's so passionate about what he does and his story. So it's a very fun interview. You guys will enjoy it a lot, I'm sure, when you watch it. And
yeah, each piece means something to him.
Yes.
He has a story to go with each of these things.
Yes, and I love that. I love the passion. I mean, that's what makes Weird World so great, is the passion people have for things. Just like John at the Witchboard Museum, who just has a passion for collecting talking boards. I guess they're not Ouija boards because Ouija board's a brand. Talking boards or witch boards.
I did not know that.
I did, but I never really, I guess, put the value behind it. I'd still just call them all Ouija boards, but...
Yeah, it's like Q-tips.
Yeah.
Right.
I know they're not all Q-tips,
it's actually named around. I think they're just cotton swabs.
Well, they're all Q-tips to me.
Yeah, right, exactly. Kleenex.
It's true. The collection of Ouijas and talking boards.
Talking boards. They're not all Ouija. You had some that were old enough where Ouija wasn't the brand yet.
Yeah. And
so they were just talking boards.
The history part was the most fascinating to me.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
There was a point.
Obviously, I don't think, as the buzzkill of season 2, I do not think you are communing with anything with the talking boards, brand name or otherwise. But the history of them is fascinating.
Yeah,
there's so much history.
There is. And I've done a podcast before and the whole shebang on divination. And it's the same concept of divination, right? Whenever it's periods of history where things are just out of control. They're out of your hands. You feel like you want to get back control. So how do you get it back? Well, I'll commune with the spirits and they can help me gain insights and then I won't feel so powerless. And it's,
mental masturbation.
So talking boards started with that. And he had some that were in crates and furniture pieces because everyone kind of made them and had them at one point and they were very custom built things. And then in times where poverty happened.
I think it was specifically Depression era.
I think it was Depression
People
era,
used them as, they needed wood.
So they used them as wood.
He had one that was very old. Mm-hmm. And then the other side of it had painted or material on it because somebody had used it to build a drawer, right?
Yes.
It was one of the walls or bottom of a drawer that, I think he said during the Depression, people were like, oh, I need this wood. I don't give a shit about this talking board.
Yeah. It was very interesting.
So I flipped it over and used it, which is great. And then they reclaimed it.
Yeah. Yeah. It was
an old rare one. I mean, he knew the make. It predated Ouija, right? It was 1800 something, board, right?
Yes. Yeah. I love that I could ask him, what was your biggest find? And, he would get so excited about knowing every collectible type of talking board and, their cost and getting them. And it was spectacular. And my favorite, he's laughing because he knows, there was just this Barbie pink Toys R Us Ouija board that Parker Brothers released, I think he said in the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s, sometime around there. And
it felt early 90s to me.
It did feel early 90s. And it was very almost offensive very offensive in, hey girls, take this Ouija board and ask these prompt questions. Will Phil take me to the dance? I mean, it has prompts that are just so vapidly what they would expect a teenage girl to say.
So stupid.
And, of course, people complain that they're selling Ouija boards in Toys R Us.
If you believed you were communing, if you believed the shtick, and the best questions you have to ask are if, Chris is going to ask me to the school dance in 8th grade, Also, why the fuck would a ghost know the answer to that question?
Right. Well, they can see the future.
Why?
Right?
Why is that part of the lore? No one said that. That's not part of the rules. Ghosts don't also have magic future-telling abilities.
Part of Toys R Us Parker Brothers rules.
You can just add shit. We've had this discussion. I'm perfectly happy to suspend my disbelief when I'm, watching something that's fiction or fantasy or sci-fi. You define your rules for this universe, and I'm happy to put myself in there and live that set of rules. But you don't get to just make up new rules as it goes, right? You don't. It kills me. You have to define your magic system, and then that can happen. But then you can't just invent some new thing to get yourself out of a bind 6 books into your, 20-book series because you wrote yourself into a corner and your magic system doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the series Lost,
but
I heard it's famous for this ending. So if you have, don't even tell me. But I never watched it in the moment. I was going to go back and watch all of them, and then this was the famous criticism of it. That it doesn't play by its, it ends and just undoes everything. Again, haven't seen it, but supposedly undoes everything that it built. It doesn't play by its own rules at the end to get itself out of it. And that is unacceptable to me.
That is the worst thing you could do in any fictional anything that you create.
And the narrative I've been built is ghosts are dead people. So I don't know why they have future-telling abilities. No one gave me that. I don't accept that narrative. That's not acceptable.
Well, Parker Brothers says that's what the case is.
They're wrong. Not my ghosts.
Okay, Michael. You live by your ghost rules.
You're goddamn right.
Yes. Anyway, these Toys R Us boards were discontinued because angry parents were very unhappy that they were selling spirit boards in Toys R Us. But before they could recall them,
the joke's on
they sold out.
The parents because they sold out.
They sold out. But apparently they're very rare because they stopped making them after they sold out that one time.
Not quite rare enough, though, because somebody bought one.
I did. Yeah. I bought one.
Yeah.
I found it on eBay and I bought it. Oh, it was so good. And the best part was...
Somebody used up their allowance.
I sure did.
For the month.
But the best...
For a few months.
For a few months. But the best part was a couple weeks later, I had lunch at the Hanover Tavern with Kenny Biddle from the Skeptical Inquirer and the Center for Inquiry. Mm-hmm. And he is a self-proclaimed Ouija board just collector. He loves Ouija boards. And he also has the pink Ouija.
It's so funny that you would meet another person who went out of their way to buy the pink Ouija board. I know. He has a bunch, right?
He does.
I wasn't at the lunch. But
he has a bunch of them.
He also is like a big aficionado of the history and weirdness of them.
He is.
Yeah, it's great.
How bizarre that in a period of a month, there are 3 of us that all communed together that have those pink Ouijas now.
And we can all find out if Chris is going to ask you to the dance.
I can't wait. Oh my God. I will say, before we end it, your rant about continuity, that's why I love Buffy and Angel so much.
Oh my God.
I'm not going to talk about Buffy and Angel. I'm just saying that's why I love it so much. A show has to have very set, defined rules. Especially if magic is involved. It needs to be understood and clear from the beginning. Mm-hmm. And if it breaks its own rules, I will not watch it. And it makes me so angry. And that's why Charmed was a terrible show.
I have no interest in it. Yeah.
I wanted to like it. Everyone told me I would like it because I liked Buffy. Because it, came on after Buffy or whatever. And it could not follow its own rules for magic. And it would make me so angry. Like I wanted to like it and I'd be enjoying it. And then something would happen. What? There's just this huge logic. And I would draw the hole in the logic and be very upset. So I agree. That's why I didn't watch Lost either. I heard the exact same thing.
Yes. I know we keep saying that I'm the buzzkill for season 2. And I am. I was hired to perform that role. And I'll do it. But as far as books and shows and forms of storytelling go, epic fantasy is by far my favorite genre. I can't get enough of it. But you have to play by your own rules. Yes. I will fully envelop myself in whatever world you want to build.
Yes.
But you have to stick to your own rule. You can build whatever rules you want and do it. But you have to follow your own rules.
Yes. Yes. Please.
Yes.
I agree. 1,000%. But we had a great time in Salem. Everything was lovely besides getting harassed by a psycho.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, but it was...
That was definitely the scariest part.
Definitely. The witches were all friendly.
Yeah.
And the vampires were friendly.
Yes.
Yes. Everybody there was friendly. Except for that guy.
Lunatic.
But I like how it has such little small town vibes, yet there's so much there. It is just a complete center for weirdness, and the people that are drawn there appreciate and push that it's a center for weirdness. Yeah. And they all kind of know each other and celebrate just the chaos that is Salem.
It has a very good mix of leaning into the weirdness and history.
Yes.
It's a beautiful town. It was also, because it snowed, we have like just great pictures and footage from all this stuff, both before and after being snow covered.
Yes.
And all these historical sites are just accessible. I mean, and just places of interest. The Hocus Pocus Yabo's house has like a garden. You can go behind it, and it's all just open. Yeah. And in fact, it was a local who told us it was down there. We were just like, walking down the street, and he saw that we were clearly taking pictures and filming. And he was like, he just had a bunch of history to give us.
He's like, oh, so this is the witch house. It's not open today, but I'm just going to tell you all the history about it. And then when you're done, just go like 3 houses over. The house with the white fence right there, that was in Hocus Pocus. And you can walk into the yard and do this and this. And we're like, oh, thank you. But I like that Mike said this, and it was very true. Like, the Puritans were horrible. Everything that happened there with the witch trials was because the Puritans were horrible. And the joke is now on them, because now all the witches and weirdos and vampires go to Salem.
Yes.
Is kind of like they're drawn to it. It's kind of like an FU to the Puritans.
They would hate it.
They would hate it. Exactly. Yeah. And that's great.
And we do more of the actual witch trial history in the episode.
In the interview with Mike.
Yes.
Yes.
We have like 4 hours of interview footage that we'll, try to turn into a 30-minute episode.
Yes.
But he goes in depth on the history during the walking tour. So we're not ignoring that.
We're not, but you have to watch the episode to really get the full experience. And it's interesting because it also has roots in voodoo, which I didn't expect. And there's a lot more there that you should find interesting, I think.
Yes.
Yep, so you'll have to tune into Weird World Adventures Season 2. Speaking of Weird World Adventures, before we wrap it up here, Valentine's Day is this week.
It is.
It is. And if you guys haven't gotten your special someone or your best friend or your friend Valentine, what's it called now? The friend version of it. Galentine's.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. If you haven't celebrated with anybody quite yet, make sure you go to Amazon Prime and you purchase Weird World Adventures Season 1. It's only $1.99 an episode if you want it in HD, but 99 cents if you don't, and there's only 6 episodes. So
you get the whole Season 1 for $10 if you buy
in
it.
HD.
If you buy it together.
Yeah.
Get an episode for free.
Yeah, it's true.
Oh, what a deal.
It is. It's a great deal. So please go on, get Weird World Adventures, watch it with the weirdo in your life as a special Valentine's date.
I'm still waiting for the ghost to tell me if she's going to be my Valentine.
Gosh, we'll see. We're going to have a seance session later.
Oh, boy.
With the cards and everything.
Oh, I can't wait.
Gosh. But yeah, check out Season 1 of Weird World Adventures, and Season 2 will be out this fall, like we've said.
And I'll be in it to kill the joy.
He will. We got a Dick Sargent over here.
Wow.
Wow.
Season 2 husband.
Dick Sargent.
Just switch on over.
I'm doing the nose twitch now, but you can't see. It would be cute if you could see it, but
it wasn't that cute.
Oh, wow. I'm gonna ask Spirit how to torment you later.
You don't need the spirit for that.
Wow, okay, before I murder Michael here. Thank you guys for tuning in today. I'm your host, Mallory.
And I'm your host, Michael. Mallory, thank you for your service.
You are welcome. I'm allowing you to wear the jacket. Oh. And until next time, everybody, stay weird. For more of our fun videos, make sure you visit maloriesadventures.com, MALORIES adventures.com, and be sure to check out Malorie's Adventures on Instagram, Malorie Mackie on TikTok, and be sure to watch Weird World Adventures on Amazon Prime now.